Welcome to the 2011 5th Annual Poetry Parade. Now to start it off, Silver by Walter de la Mare. In Silver, Walter de la Mare describes how beautiful the world is by moonlight. This poem really applies to today because on Saturday night, 2 weeks ago, we had the largest moon in 20 years. He describes how the light of the moon makes everything turn silver. This poem uses more alliteration and rhyming than the other poems you'll hear today.
Slowly, silently, now the moon walks the night in her silver shoon.
This way and that she peers and sees silver fruit upon silver trees.
One by one the casements catch her beams beneath the silvery thatch.
Couched in his kennel like a log, with paws of silver sleeps the dog.
From their shadowy coat of white breast peep, of doves and silver feathered sleep,
A harvest mouse goes scampering by,
with silver claws and silver eye.
and moveless fish in the water gleam.
By silver reeds in a silver stream.
The next poem is Holloman by T.S. Eliot. This poem is several different poems put together that T.S. Eliot thought worked good together. T.S. Eliot was in World War I, where soldiers stood in trenches next to dead soldiers. They had to sit next to them because if you even tried to stick your head out of the trench, you'd get shot because you were so close to the enemy. This poem is about his experience in the war. A quote from this poem is, "The eyes are not here. There are no eyes here in this valley of dying stars," which is saying God cannot see the Holloman here, but show the soldiers, because there is so much sinning and hatred. Now the Holloman.
Mr. Kurtz,
He did.
a penny for the old guy.
We are the hollow men. We are the stuffed men, leaning together, headpiece filled with straw. Alas! Our dried voices when we whisper together are quiet and meaningless, as wind in dry grass or rats' feet over broken glass in our dry cellar.
Shape without form, shade without color, paralyzed force, gesture without motion.
Those who have crossed with direct eyes to death's other kingdom, remember us, if at all, not as lost, violent souls, but as the hollow men, the stuffed men.
Eyes I dare not meet in dreams in death's dream kingdom. These do not appear. There, the eyes are sunlight in a broken column. There is a tree swinging and voices in the wind singing, more solemn and more distant than a fading star.
Let me be no nearer in death's dream kingdom. Let me also wear such deliberate disguises, rat's coat, crow skin, crossed staves, in a field, behaving as the wind behaves, no nearer.
Not that final meeting in the twilight kingdom.
This is the dead land. This is cactus land. Here the stone images are raised. Here they receive the supplication of a dead man's hand under the twinkle of a fading star.
Is it like this in death's other kingdom, waking alone at the hour when we are trembling with tenderness? Lips I would kiss, form prayers to broken stone.
The eyes are not here. There are no eyes here, in this valley of dying stars. This is Hollow Valley, in this broken jaw of our lost kingdoms.
In this last of meeting places,
We grope together.
And avoid speech,
Gathered on this beach of the timid river.
sightless unless the eyes reappear, as their perpetual star, the multifoliate rose of the twilight kingdom. the hope only
of empty men.
Here we go
Round the prickly pear, prickly pear, prickly pear. Here we go round the prickly pear at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Between the idea and the reality,
between the emotion and the act.
Falls the shadow.
For thine is thy kingdom.
Between the between the conception and the creation, between the emotion and the response.
Falls the shadow.
Life is very long.
Between the desire and the spasm.
between the potency and the existence.
Between the essence and the descent.
Falls the shadow.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is.
Life is, for thine is the.
This is the way the world ends.
This is the way the world ends.
This is the way the world ends.
Not with a bang.
But a whimper.
The next poem is Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes was one of America's first great African American poets. He wrote this poem during the Great Depression. This poem is about a mother talking to her son. She tells her son that her life wasn't the best, but she never gave up. In this poem, they use improper grammar. The mother uses improper grammar, suggesting that the mother was not well educated. The poet is speaking for everyone who experienced hard times. Ultimately, the message of this poem is don't give up.
Well, son, I'll tell you that we ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up and places with no carpet on the floor. Bare. But all the time, I've been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So, boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on the steps, 'cause you finds it kind of hard. Don't you frown now, but I's still going, honey. I's still climbing, and life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
Last but not least, If by Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling is a British poet, but he did not only write poems. He wrote The Jungle Book, Just So Stories, and many others. He lived in India for many years, which probably inspired some of his writing, like The Jungle Book. Now to the poem. In this poem, he is talking to his son, telling him if you do all these things, you will become a true man. This poem was written around the 1800s, but the virtues still apply till today.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too.
If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise.
If you can dream and not make dreams your master.
If you can think and not make thoughts your aim,
If you can meet with triumph and disaster.
and treat those two impostors just the same.
If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools.
Or watch the things you gave your life to, broken.
and stoop and build 'em up with worn-out tools.
If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss, lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss.
If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on.
If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue,
Or walk with kings nor lose the common touch.
If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you.
If all men count with you, but none too much.
if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run,
Yours is the earth and everything that is in it.
And, which is more,
you'll be a man, my son.
Thank you for attending the 2011 5th Annual Poetry Parade. Now to end it off, an Irish prayer. These things I only wish for you. Someone to love, some work to do. A bit of sun, a bit of cheer, and your guardian angel, always near.